how to keep a good relationship with your horse whilst asking him to do difficult tasks.
Nelly, good girl. Come on. Nelly. Good girlie. Good girl. What are you doing, you mad old girl?
So the important thing after that high excitement of Nelly galloping over is we want some calm. We want them to practice going in from high excitement back down to calm. And also we want to teach them they only get the food if they're doing a behaviour you like. So we don't want a horse galloping up and running us over, and we don't want a horse who can't stand still once they've galloped over. So I've taught her through reward that if she stands quietly, she will be rewarded. So she has learnt to gallop up madly, stop, and just wait for me to ask her to move on. So she's getting practice of this from excitement back down to quiet. And this will really help your relationship, because it means to say you haven't got to force her to go from high excitement down to quiet. She's learning that herself. She's learning some emotional control. And then you'll see here I make a bit of a mistake. I'm trying to keep her out with the bamboo and she's pushing in, and the bamboo makes a bit of a clacky noise where it's a bit broken. I accidentally frighten her there. And then I say, don't worry, how about coming down to a whoa, which she does. So she's still obedient. She's still listening to me. And I've brought her back down to a bit of quiet, but she's still a little bit worried by what happened. So I'm having to be very clear and very calm about the next cue. I don't want her to move off until I ask her, and then she's watching my body language very closely because she knows that there's something good could come of it. And I'm afraid the filming's not brilliant here, so she goes out of scene. But then we're just my bit of body language there just to say, come back down. And she's coming down. She's trying to push in a bit, but this is all new to her. And then she watches my hand go up and knows she's got a whoa. So then I reward her for standing. So it's about going from high excitement back to calm. So this is the end of the session. And what's important is they don't get into trouble for pestering you for food. So I've taught her that she actually can't come in with me, and she's quite upset by this, but she has learnt that behaviour and understands what I want. So I believe we can train horses to do quite difficult things and not affect our relationship. I think that if we train them under threshold, we explain to them what we want, we reward them for doing what we want, then we can have a really good partnership at quite a high level. So this means that we've got to help our horses go from sort of a high level of motivation where they need to use lots of energy and then back down to feeling really calm. And we need the calmness to help them learn. It's much easier for them to learn if they don't have too much motivation. If they're really motivated and excited about something, then it's much more difficult for them to be quiet enough in their minds to figure out what we want. So that's when you've got your sort of slightly erratic, overexcitable horse. We don't want that. We want them to be able to come down, be calm, and then be able to listen to us. So very much a lot of this is about how you introduce the food to the horses in a calm way. Get about. So there are my reins. Swinging about. We're going to have another trot here. Toe her up. Going to try canter. Good. Walk. No rein. Back to whoa. Back to halt. So this guy loves his work, so he gallops over to me, but he can also watch my signals and become calm, which will help the training. So because you're training with food, the horses really observe you. And here I'm not doing a pushing, pressurising sign for him to come to me. I'm just doing a beckoning sign, and he will be observing that because he really wants to engage because he loves it. I mean, he naturally likes work, this horse. But there's something in it for them. So they really change the way they feel about what you're asking them. Now, the reason why I do this all loose is because I want him to tell me where he's at. What can he understand? What can't he understand? What does he like doing? What does he not like doing? I will then put tack on them and train them to understand pressure so that they can, it's easier for them. If they were all loose all the time, it would be carnage. But just the early training, I want it loose because I want to know where he's at. 'Cause look, if you look here, when he comes round to this little pole on the left rein, I lose him a bit, which is fine. He's got something more interesting. And then I ask him back and he's like, yeah, I'm ready. And then he pops over that, quite excited about it, but still comes back to woe, where he can then be rewarded. And then I think I changed the rein. And yeah, so I'm just asking him to change the rein here. And we have a little bit of misunderstanding, or maybe he doesn't want to do it off the right rein. So he doesn't go over the jump on the right rein. He doesn't get told off for that. We just try and find a little bit of calm. He's a little bit overexcited. There's a bit too much energy for him to figure out what's going on because I haven't got a rope. So they've got to be really connected to me to understand what's going on. So I can't have them too highly motivated because then they'll be too excited and they can't watch me. So now I've brought it down to the calm side of the motivation. He can then go, oh yeah, that's what I've got to do. This is really early days. He doesn't really know. We've only just started doing this, but he wants to do it because there's something in it for him. And so if you've got a top jumper and you want to jump big fences, I don't know if they're going to jump 1.60 m like this, but if you start your jumping off in a way like this, you know that they're enjoying the jumping, they understand and that they're feeling okay about it. I'm not making him in any way go over the jump. I'm guiding him. If he misses it, he misses it. I do use my bamboo a little bit just to direct him the next time, but I get him calm so that he can use his brain to work out what I want, and then he gets rewarded. But you can see he really gets quite excited when we start doing stuff with jumping. So if you're going eventing, it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you start off doing stuff like this, then you can build your horses up slowly. And this video is just to show that we want the calm. I'm not going to get on that horse and want him to gallop around like he was over the jumps with no kit on, because he's not connected enough to me. And because I'm not using negative reinforcement, I've got to have that connection. As he learns and he gets more to understand it more and starts to learn to jump and isn't quite so sort of heady over it, then we can start upping it. But to start with, we just need this calm so that they can work out what we want. So I think the thing is, yes, you can have a good relationship with your horse, even if you're doing higher level competing. We've just got to think of calmness and motivation, and you can see there he loved that. So I do these online courses. They are pre-recorded courses with lives each week, and I take people through the stages I take all my horses. So there you can see this is a funny little training flag that I've mocked up. I've had psychology lessons with Dr. Helen Spence for the last 16 years. So the thing about the training is I really try and understand the horse's emotions. It's not just about the behaviour. It's not just about them doing it perfectly. It's about how do they feel when they are doing it.